Namaste and welcome to Dragonfly Cookery and Knives. In this video, I am going to be talking about the tools and materials that I use in sharpening my cookery and my knives. Now, I've already done a video on this, on how to sharpen your cookery, and I go over the tools and materials. Much of those tools and materials are the same that I use. However, I do have a new product on my table that I have now. It is a go-to for me that I carry with me wherever I go so that I can sharpen my blades. And it's an excellent material. Now, what kind of coaxed me to do this video is my friend Daniel Murray Lake. Probably, I think it was last week, he and I were talking, and we were talking about a lot of different topics, and our favorite topics are cookeries. And Gabriel Warren's name came up and his product. And Daniel had stated that, that he had acquired a stone. He really likes the product. He really likes Gabriel. He's gotten to be friends with him. And I said, the same for me. I've gotten Gabriel's products and I've become friends with him as well. Now, Daniel is starting up his business. When it does come up, I know that he's going to be offering Gabriel's product on it, as I will be doing the same. I'll be adding this product to our website that you can acquire it there as well. But now let me tell you what that product is. This is the new product. Gabriel Warren is a gentleman that lives in Colorado. He really knows his art, and he knows the science behind this very, very well. He has taken up where he takes Jade and he takes Jasper, these two materials. There might be some other materials he's working with as well, but these are the ones that I'm most familiar with. And he profiles them and gets them suited to where you could use them to sharpen your knives with. Now, before you sit there and say, well, wait a minute, isn't Jade jewelry? Isn't Jasper jewelry? Stones, stuff that you would put in jewelry that you would wear? Why in the world would you think of using that for your sharpening system? Well, let me introduce something to you that also you might consider jewelry, and that is a diamond rod. Diamond rods have been around for a long time. Diamonds are a girl's best friend, right? No, I'm sorry I had to say it. But diamonds are harder than steel. We know this, and hence why they are being made on rods, put on rods, impregnated on the rods for sharpening your knives. Now, there's lots of different grits of diamond profile that will help you remove material in sharpening your blades, taking out rolled edges and necks. This particular one is very good. I think Buck made this one. Now it's yellow. It used to be blue in its casing, but it's the size of a pin. It's called a pin sharpener. It has diamonds on it, and you have a flat edge, you have a rounded edge, you even have a groove for sharpening your arrowheads and your fishing hooks. You have a pointed side, which is used for your serrated edges. So if you have a serrated edge, you can get in there and you can sharpen your knife using it that way as well. It's a wonderful tool to have. I do carry these with me when I go out in the field, because this is what I'm going to take my rolled or my nicked edges out with. It takes a little bit more effort than a file or what I would use here at home, which is my work sharp sharpener, which is a belt system sharpening. I use the Ken Onion one. So when I come across blades that are in really poor shape, I will start with my belt sharpening system and take it up to the various different grids, and then I go to the ceramic rod, and then I would go to a stroke, or I would go to my Jade rod, which is now my go-to for my finishing touches on my blades, and I'll talk a little bit more in detail. So in thinking about jewelry, diamonds on a rod, we've been using those for a long time. So the introduction that Gabriel has so wisely done by thinking of using Jade and Jasper for sharpening our knives with is genius. It's great. And now that I've had the stones and I've had them for almost a year and I've been using them, what I have found is if I use it and I like it and I'll keep using it, that's something I can not only own for myself, but I can also endorse and I can promote. And in this particular case, I've had these stones for almost a year now. I've been using them a lot. And I can honestly say they work. They do what they're supposed to do. Form follows function to a T. And it's wonderful because you could get the stone polished, and then you could take some sandpaper and you can rough up the edge. He makes them as flat stones or he makes them as rods. Now personally for Khukuris, I prefer the rods. But for my straight edges, these flat stones work really good. I can use the flat stones on my recurved blades, no problem. I've been using flat stones before I started using rods. So I know I have a technique in which to do it with, and it's not a problem for me. But this is a great stone for using in sharpening your edges. Now this particular one has been roughed up a little bit, so I have a little bit more of an aggressive edge on side on this side, and a little bit finer on this one. My Jasper stone is the one that I've decided to go with that kind of more aggressive surface. And so what I would do is I take that and I stroke my blade with it. I rub it right down the edge of it. Or you can use the circular motion that Gabriel recommends, and that works extremely well too. Sometimes I go to both. I'll use my circular motion, and then I will go to my my angle stroke of the blade. Now the angle I'm using is roughly around a 20 to 25 degree angle, and I will run it along the edge and do it that way. Now because this one is the more aggressive one, and the polished side is very good, but it's not as polished as my rod is. I'm going to go to the rod and go ahead and re-stroke it, and hopefully be able to get a nice polished edge on this that I can take through my paper here and demonstrate it as being relatively sharp. So very nice and sharp. And I'm not trying to use energy to get through the paper. I'm letting the cutting edge get through the paper and the material. If the cutting edge is able to get through the material of the paper just by itself being sharp, then I know that I've got a sharp blade. Now this I could work a little bit more. I dulled this blade up quite a bit, and to really get it sharp, I really need to kind of work with it. Another thing that you'll notice is that, like let's say with this machete, the machete is Rockwell rating is roughly around 55 to maybe 57, and it's designed that way. It's a high carbon steel. It's designed so that you could easily field sharpen it out in the field. This is designed by military guys. It's a Tops knife, and I forget what the name of this one is. It's the Urban Defender. I don't even know if they make it anymore. It's a very, very nice knife. I like it. It's very comfortable. But it probably has a Rockwell rating that's probably closer to a 57 to a 60. So when you are sharpening your blade, you're going to feel the difference between something that has a lower Rockwell rating versus a higher Rockwell rating on how long it takes you to get your edge back, to make it sharp again. And so that is something that you always want to take into consideration when you're sharpening your knives. Now, one thing I want to talk about a little bit briefly about is knife, and sharpening. Why are these things important? I know a lot of friends that have gone out to Walmart or gone out, they're going backpacking. They're going to go their first backpacking trip, and they feel they need a knife. So they go and they get a knife. They buy it from Walmart. They bring it home. It goes in their kit. They haven't touched it. They don't even know if it's sharp or not. And I'll tell you, a lot of knives that I have bought, whether it be cold steel or a buck knife or whatever, sometimes the edge is not really that sharp. It's a pretty dull knife, and you really need to take it and sharpen it before you go out there. Now, if you're a hunter, you're not going to just grab the gun and run and go out there and shoot with it unless you know that that gun has been cleaned properly and is prepped properly, and usually it's your gun. And if it is your gun, you have taken the care and maintenance of cleaning the gun before you put it away in storage until the next time you took it hunting. So you know what condition that gun is. And even the night before, kind of as a ritual, you're going to take that gun out and you're going to re-clean it even though you put it away clean. You're going to re-clean it, you're going to look at it, you're going to make sure that everything's functioning right on it, because you're re-familiarizing yourself with that gun, and you're also prepping your mind on what you're going to be doing with that gun. You're going to take it out and you're going to go kill some game with it and feed your family with it. So, no different than a knife. With a knife, you get it, whether you bought it on the internet, whether you bought it from me, whether you bought it from Walmart, you're going to take that knife out and you should sharpen it. And the sharpening tools that you use will determine on how, and the care and the attention that you've done in profiling that edge and getting it ready. If you're a hunter, you want it to be really slicey. If you're going to take it and you're going to process firewood, at least you want it sharp enough to where you could whittle and carve with it, but you can also pound it through. You could take it and split some wood with it for your fire prep, or by batoning with it. So you're going to want to think about the philosophy of use as you're putting that edge on it. But sharpening the knife is really important. You just don't go to the store, buy the knife, take it out in the field, and think it's going to stay sharp forever. It eventually dulls. And when it does, it needs to be sharpened. So very, very, very important. The other thing is you want to know what material your knife is. If the knife is high carbon, you need to put a little bit of oil before you put it back in its scabbard and put it in storage. Storage meaning it might be, sitting on your shelf or in your backpack or whatever until the next time you go. You want to make sure it's oiled so that way it doesn't rust while it's in its housing, whether it be a Kydex scabbard or a leather scabbard, whatever it is. So those are things that you just automatically should be thinking about in the care and maintenance of your knife. The care and maintenance of your knife and sharpening is one of the most important things. Always having a sharp blade is really important. There is nothing more dangerous to its user than a dull blade. That dull blade is going to make you do things that you normally wouldn't do with a sharp blade. And that means, force it, make it, try to make it work when it's not, because it's dull. And when you start doing those things is when the accidents happen and you cut yourself very badly. Yes, a dull knife will cut you. It's just, it's better to have a sharp knife that you don't have to force the issue. To kind of demonstrate how sharp I like my kukris, I'm going to show you how sharp I like my kukris. This is what I call sharp. Where I am, I can draw with the cutting edge of this blade. I'm not sitting there using inertia and try to cut through the paper. I am taking this knife, and just by pulling it, it is going through the material that I want it to go through. This has the edge that I like, that I love. And how did I get that edge? I got it by using the ceramic rod, because it came fairly sharp. But I used the ceramic rod, and I used my Jade rod in sharpening this blade. And using it to sharpen that blade. And one way to sharpen a kukuri, a really good way and a proper way to do it is to hold it by the handle with cutting edge up, and then drag your rod along the profile of the blade at the angle that you want it, which would be 20 or 25 degrees. And you do this a few times, and if you feel anything that, like a burr, you'll feel it. And you can do the rotation, or you can do, the running along the edge like I do for it. And when you get it sharp enough, that's when you can carve a piece of paper with it by just dragging it and allowing the cutting edge that's nice and polished to cut that paper. You don't even have to, there's no energy that I'm using. I am just allowing the cutting edge to glide through the paper because I've gotten it that sharp. And that's how sharp you can get it with these whetstones. So, in closing, hopefully I've demonstrated here using my stones and my method. To recap, what I've talked about is for really aggressive things, I use my Work Sharp Ken Onion belt sharpening system, and I go with the various different grits. If I'm out on the field, I use my diamond rod for pretty much the same purpose. And there's another one, Work Sharp puts together a diamond rod and all kinds of, it has a diamond surface for sharpening, it has ceramic surface, it even has a stroke on it. It's a very excellent tool, and I'll be including that on my website along with these and the ceramic rods and with Gabriel's stones. I might even put Work Sharp, the belt sanding system on as well, where you can purchase it through our website. And another method to use is strokes. This is a leather stroke. They come with a plain side and with a already treated side with a compound, so they're good to go for doing that final polish on your edge. They work really great. You can do it with Khukuris. I use this system. I don't use it as much as I used to because of Gabriel's stones. The whetstones I have found gives me the same result that stroking my blades are. It gets it as sharp. And this is something I can wear around my neck and out in the field. So I don't have to have this in my backpack. And the other thing is when you're putting rubbing compound on your stroke and you are using it out in the field, debris, dust, dirt, and stuff tends to adhere to it. And that becomes a little bit more of a nuisance and a deterrent in the ability of your stroke on your blade. Whereas this, all you need is water, or you can use it dry, and you're getting the same result as you will get when you're stroking your blade. So, with that being said, to recap, is Work Sharp belt system for really aggressive things that I need to do and that I do in my home shop, and then the others, which is my ceramic rods, my diamond rod, and ending my sharpening process with one of Gabriel Warren's whetstones, whether it be the Jasper one or the Jade one. And remember that they come either in the round or the flat. You can request it anyway, and Gabriel will also profile it for you if you want it one side being already roughed up and textured ready. He'll do that. He provides that service for you, as I will do as for those that we will carry in the future. So hopefully you found this information useful and beneficial. You know the product that I use to sharpen my blade, some of my technique and method, how to sharpen a Khukuri and a recurve blade. And also, you've been introduced or reintroduced to Gabriel Warren's excellent product, the Jade rods and the Jasper rods, or the Jade, your Jade, what is it? The flat surface ones, the Jade stones, the sharpening stones. And these work really, really good. When they're flat, they hold the water on there a little bit better than the round ones do. So when you're actually using it, if you're having it on a flat surface and you're bringing your knife across it this way, and you can keep applying the water, it makes it very easy to use it in the whetstone capacity. So the flat stones and also the round stones I highly recommend, especially in this size and profile, to carry with you when you're out in the field on an everyday basis. These are EDC stones, and they're great. They really, really work. I've been using them for a year, and I'm swearing by it now. It is, when you guys get your Khukuris, just know that not only do I examine the blades, I sharpen your blades. And when I am putting that final hone on it, I'm using one of Gabriel's stones. That's for certain. And so, with that, please like and subscribe on my YouTube page. Leave any comments there. Please visit me at my Facebook page at Blue Dragonfly Trading Post, and you can leave comments and questions there as well. Please visit my website at Dragonfly Khukuri and Knives, where you can find excellent handmade kukris and knives, along with, in the future, you're going to see these products in which you can purchase as well. The stropes, the ceramic rods, the diamond rods, and Gabriel's wonderful stones will also be there for your purchasing ability. So, and if you also, by all means, visit Gabriel Warren's Facebook page and his website at naturalwhetstonesharpening.com. Thank you very much for watching. Namaste, and God bless, and stay healthy. Thank you.